Have you ever spent hours, sometimes even days, working on a photo? Going back to a location over and over again, trying to get the light that you want, or maybe composing a composition of a really chaotic scene into a presentable way, or maybe just revisiting an edit until it's perfect. And then you post it online and no one cares. It gets very little likes. Or in reverse, have you ever come to a beautiful location like Plitzweiss here, walked in the entrance and taken the image that 1 million people have taken? An image that requires no photography skills at all, and that does better than the other image I just mentioned. Well, that's kind of the bitter truth of the attention economy of social media. But the bigger bitter truth is that no one cares about either image. Just because you grab someone's attention doesn't mean they care. And I think that's a harsh truth that we all need to realize. No one cares about our photos. But once you realize that no one cares about the photography you're making, then you have the freedom to make whatever you want. That is the beauty of landscape and nature photography, is there is no client, there is no deliverable, there is no expectations. The only client is you. You're the only person that is setting expectations for yourself. It means that I can come to a beautiful spot like this and never take a photo and no one would care. No one would even know, except for me. So when I come here and I want to take photos that make me happy, that's the client. I am the client when it comes to landscape and nature photography. But I've been thinking a lot about this and I'm like, okay, now that I accept that no one cares about my photography, how do I make someone care about my photography? How do I communicate emotion and depth and meaning to someone else? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. But first, let me prove it to you that no one actually really cares about your photos. Okay, how are you feeling?
So cold.
Is it cold here?
Freezing.
Okay, now, more importantly, how much do you care about my photography?
How much do I care about your photography?
My photography.
A little bit?
See, I told you. What are you doing here, kitty cat?
Oh, he's coming. Well, what do we do?
I don't know.
What do we do with the cat?
There's a cat, and then there's a waterfall.
What do we do? What do we do with the kitty?
All right, the end of day one, how do you feel about Plitzweiss?
It's very, very beautiful, but can be very treacherous.
Yes, there are some frozen walkways that were not great to walk on, so we had to abandon ship and turn around. Mm-hmm. I got a little footage of you.
Did you?
A little bit.
When I was screaming?
No, no, I didn't get any of that.
Okay, that's nice.
That's when I went to help you.
Thank you, I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
you're welcome. Why don't you like my photography?
No, I like your photography.
Why don't you care about my photography?
Because it's yours.
Thank you. That's a great answer.
You're welcome.
It's my photography. No one else cares about my photography but me, really. Sophia actually does care a little bit.
Yeah.
But you don't care about, like, you're not like, oh, Alex, I'm disappointed in you because you messed up that waterfall photo.
Yeah. Terrible composition.
You care more about how I feel or anything not actual photography, the photo related. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
See, she does have a heart.
You can end this now.
Yes, ma'am. But yes, it is absolutely beautiful, but we are very cold because it is wet and cold.
Yes.
And we are ready to get warm
And icy.
and come back tomorrow and make more photos. Did you get any good photos?
I don't know. My fingers are too cold to tell. I can't tell.
Your fingers are what judge if you got a good photo or not?
That's how it works.
Well, see, Sophia's photography different than my photography. What an absolutely stunning morning here in Plitzweiss. We have come back, the sun is out, and just look at this scene unfolding behind me. Now, when you see this and you don't know anything about this park, you might see this and say, wow, that's absolutely breathtaking. And that's the thing, grabbing someone's attention can be pretty easy when Mother Nature looks like this. To stop someone from scrolling, just take a second and just double tap that image and like it, doesn't take all that much when things look like this. But the reality is, we're literally right at the entrance. Like right here is the entrance to the park, and you're presented with this absolutely gorgeous shot. And I'm still taking the shot, and I'm still gonna show you the shot. But it took basically zero effort. There's not a whole lot of photography aspects that I'm doing right now that are gonna make this image. The only thing I'm doing that's even half technical is bracketing my shot, because the snow-capped trees up here are bright white, and down here is in shadow. Beautiful image. However, comparing this image to yesterday, when I was taking this image of these leaves in the water, the leaves in the water were far harder to see. I had to find and see those leaves. I had to walk past them and notice them, which requires a lot more insight when it comes to photography. Then I had to compose this chaotic scene, and I spent a lot of time working on that and editing that. But the reality is, this will likely grab more attention than those leaves. It doesn't really matter though, because most people don't necessarily care about either image. And I think it's really important to realize that attention does not equate to care. You might just grab someone's attention for a couple seconds and they'll move on. So, for me, even though I love this scene and it's absolutely beautiful, I'm more personally satisfied by those images of the leaves that I was taking yesterday. I'm more excited about them. And that's what really matters in photography, especially, well, in landscape and nature photography, is satisfying yourself. Now, there's nothing wrong with grabbing attention. You just have to remember that the majority of people liking photos on things like social media or Facebook, Instagram, things like that, usually aren't photographers. And if they are photographers, there's a high chance that they're beginning photographers, and just things like saturation, epic grand landscapes, sun in the shots that I still take will typically grab more attention. The reality is there's no right or wrong answer here. Maybe you're running a photography business and grabbing people's attention is really important to your bottom line. Maybe you're new to photography and seeking validation and want affirmation from other photographers is important to you. Maybe you've been shooting for 20 years and you're just trying to grow your brand, your photography presence online, or get recognition. It's all totally valid and totally okay. But the reality is no one knows what it took to take those photographs besides you. No one really connects with those photographs besides you when you take them. And that's what's really important, is breaking down photography into two different phases. One is, why do you take photographs? And two is, why do you share photographs? Discerning between why you take photographs and why you share photographs is really important, because why you take photographs is, well, completely up to you. I mean, maybe you want to just come to a beautiful location and take photographs because you want to document it. Maybe you want to sell those photos. Maybe you want to become a world-renowned photographer and that's why you take photographs. Or maybe you just want to take images for yourself and never show them to anyone. That's also totally valid. But separating between the two is highly important. Otherwise, they get too mixed up, and then you start taking photographs for the wrong reason. And it's really important because if you want people to care about your photographs, you have to care about your photographs. And if you don't know why you're taking photographs, how are you ever going to convince anyone else to care about your photos? So you have to care and you have to satisfy yourself before anyone else. Otherwise, you're just going to take images that people don't care about because you don't care about them. And the truth is, sometimes you can share a photograph just because it's a beautiful place. It doesn't have to have some deep meaning. You don't have to be communicating or expressing anything with that photo. It can just be a simple shot of a beautiful place, and that's all it is. But a lot of the times, the images that we want people to care about are the ones that communicate a feeling, that evoke an emotion, that tell a story. Those are the images that we want people to care about. Those are the images this entire video is about. And a lot of the times, putting effort into an image, taking the time to find an image that evokes an emotion to someone, or evokes an emotion to you, or tells a story can be very difficult, but those are the important ones. Those are the images that really matter to us as artists, because without them, we have no voice. We have nothing to say. Without an image that doesn't speak to someone else, it's like we're just yelling into the void. And a lot of the times for me, when I'm sharing photographs, I want to tell a story. I want someone to connect with it. I want to have a communication over the medium of photography. That's why I share photographs. Well, I'm gonna take a shot, I think. Hey, Sophia.
Hi.
I've been noticing that you're using data on your phone here in Croatia, but you're from Canada. How is that possible?
I got an eSIM.
Oh, from like today's sponsor, Saley?
Yeah.
Like Sophia, I also needed data while we traveled through Europe, considering how crucial it is for finding directions when you're exploring, or you're looking at images for potential places to stop to take photos, or just finding something tasty to eat. In the past, you had to go out and find physical SIM cards when you arrived at your destination, while also worrying about the quality of what you might get. Saley, which is from the creators of NordVPN, is an eSIM brand that allows you to skip all the hassle and worry and provides flexible options from over 150 countries based on your data needs. Once I downloaded the Saley app, I chose an eSIM that covered multiple countries we were visiting, and installation was absolutely effortless. It took less than a minute to install, and I was immediately connected. If you're someone who travels and needs data abroad, Saley provides an affordable and easy-to-operate platform to get you connected with very little effort. If you use my code, AlexArmitage, at checkout, you'll get an extra 15% discount while also directly supporting this channel. So the next time you need to be connected while traveling, check out Saley. Getting a good shot? So yesterday, this is the spot we had to turn around because it was too icy. Today, how does it look?
Better.
Okay, are you excited to go somewhere we haven't been yet?
I just hope it doesn't become icy.
Well, I'll just lead the way and let you know.
Okay.
You could just watch me slip and fall on my ass, and then you'll know not to go. How's that sound?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, it's good. It's good. I almost slipped. That was just me, though. Woohoo! Oh, Jesus, don't slip. Why are you filming and walking at the same time? Who asked you to do that? Don't do that. This is treacherous. So how do we get people to care about our photos? Well, the reality is it's honestly really tough, especially in landscape and nature photography. Unlike things like journalism or war photography or documentary photography, we don't have the ability to just capture history or something happening that will instantly tell a story to the viewer, right? A lot of our photos require specific photography elements to tell stories, unlike images that are just documenting history that, while can be great photographs, typically tell stories very quickly. They're the kind of things that would make someone stop scrolling because of the story in the image immediately. We don't really have that in landscape and nature photography. Honestly, sometimes, many times, we just want to take pictures of pretty places and maybe put a smile on someone's face. They don't all have to tell stories. But if we want people to care about our images, we have to connect with them somehow. Like this photo that I'm taking right here. It's really interesting. It's these three trees, 4 branches that come out on the water. And I was taking one image that had all of the reflections in the shot. But then as I added a polarizer to the image, it completely changes the image. And both images tell 2 different stories. They're not as obvious stories as, like I said, you might see in something like Nat Geo or war journalism or something like that. But it's 2 of the exact same images that tell slightly different stories. Or it's just an image of a tree that's pretty. That's also okay. But the example is that I can barely change anything in the photo. I can literally just turn my polarizer and the emphasis, the story I'm trying to tell within the image changes. And I'm going to leave you with this. Here's a photo I took in 2016 when I just decided to take landscape photography seriously. The reality is I'm showing it to you and you probably don't care all that much for the image. But this image holds a very significant place in my heart. And that is because this was an image that I got printed and gifted to my grandmother one Christmas. She loved flowers, she loved me. It was a pretty flower that I took, so it was on her wall. On a sea of photographs. Their house was covered in photographs. That's an important thing to remember. And a few years ago, my grandmother was dying. They had moved to an assisted living facility. My grandfather had passed away about 9 months prior. We were still in COVID times, so I decided to fly home and go see my grandmother. And sadly, as I was driving over, she passed away. It was a surreal experience. But one thing that was interesting about that experience in that photograph is that they had moved from a full house full of photos, tens of years, decades of photos, stuff, things, memorabilia. They barely had anything in this little room in the assisted living facility. They could only bring the very important stuff. And one of the photographs that she had brought with her was this lily. So now it means the world to me, even though when I took it, maybe it didn't mean all that much. And now that I've shared this story to you, maybe you care about it. And that's how you make someone care about a photograph. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you're here. And glad I get to share my stories with you. Later.